Welcome to VLearn. This is session first of Dot Net. Today we are going to cover different topics like what is classic ASP, what is Dot Net, and what is not ASP, what is an Dot Net file. Then we will cover about that how does Dot Net work basically, what is ASP Plus, the Microsoft .NET framework, .NET framework keywords we will discuss. Then we will cover the framework which consists of three main parts and ASP.NET 2.0, ASP.NET 3.0. These are the topics that we will cover in today's session. Let us discuss some background web architecture first. When we talk about the web architecture, then there are three important components. One is said to be the client, another is said to be the server, and to connect the client with that of the server, we require a network. A client can communicate with that of the server by sending some request, and that request could be in the form of some URL like http://www.digimon.com/default.asp. So by sending this sort of URL, a client is able to send the request into the network, and then the receiver, that is the server, will respond accordingly. Right? So this coordination among the client and server take place in the form of request and response mechanism. And at the client side, we are having browsers, some Mac computers, Unix could be there, and at the server end we are having the web server. So web server can communicate with the help of HTTP, that is hypertext transfer protocol, TCP/IP, that is transfer control protocol, and internet protocol. With the help of these protocols, a web server will be able to communicate with that of the any web browser. And web browser can be Netscape Navigator, Mozilla, Firefox, or Internet Explorer, the most popular browser. Right? Client-side technologies basically include HTML, DHTML, JavaScript. These are the technologies which are being supported at the client side. Means a client computer HTML coding को यूज़ करके, that is the hypertext markup language, DHTML JavaScript languages को यूज़ करके और script mechanisms को यूज़ करके client can communicate with that of the server. While at the server side technologies, we are having the active server pages, that is ASP. ASP.NET is the next generation of ASP. Sometime it is being observed कि कुछ students जो हैं ASP और ASP.NET को similar समझते हैं. That is not true. ASP was the previous version and ASP.NET is the next generation of ASP. Right? Now let us discuss that what is ASP exactly. Server side programming technology is called as a active server page or ASP. Right? Active server page, it consists of HTML with script. हम इसमें HTML वाले tags use करते हैं with script part. ASP intrinsic object consists of request, response, server, application, and session. So ASP intrinsic object basically it provides you the services in the form of request, response, server, application, and session. Commonly uses of active data object is to interact with the databases. जितने भी हम data objects ASP में use करते हैं, they directly interact with that of the databases. Further, application and session variables are also being the part of ASP. Application and session begin and end events are there. You will be thinking about that what is session variables. Client side पे कस्टमर जो विजिट किया जाता है कस्टमर एंड पर एक पर्टिकुलर वेबसाइट पे, उसको सेशन वेरिएबल्स में स्टोर कर लिया जाता है. So session variables are those variables which are created at the client side, not at the server side, right? So application session has begin and end events. Programming में begin clause के थ्रू हम starting करते हैं, end के थ्रू उसका उस event का end हो जाता है. ASP manages threads. Yes, thread is called as a sub process. Lots of threads give rise to a single process, right? So ASP basically manages the threads and databases connection. So active server pages जो कि वेबसाइट पे हमें नज़र आते हैं वो थ्रेड्स को भी मैनेज करते हैं और डेटाबेस कनेक्टिविटी को भी, राइट. नाउ व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द ASP, then the description of ASP starts with the HTTP request, that is hypertext transfer protocol data. It is being stored inside the header. It goes from client side to the server in the form of ASP page. And then ASP page is a kind of static HTML server side logic. So HTTP request goes to the ASP at the end of ASP page, and then the response come back in the form of HTTP, HTML, XML and all these. Now, let us describe an example that how to write an ASP.NET program. The coding will start from the HTML tag, that is HTML enclosed in the angular brackets, head tag, title tag we will use. Suppose I am writing hello world.asp is the title that I want to display. Then close the title tag as well as head tag, then start the body tag. Inside the body tag we can write like form method is equal to post, then next tag is input type is equal to submit. Submit is a kind of button. ID is equal to button 1, name is equal to button 1 and value is equal to push me. It means जो हमने एक सबमिट नाम का बटन क्रिएट किया है उसका एक्शन होगा पुश में, उसकी वैल्यू हमने क्या स्टोर की है पुश में. सो इट विल रिस्पॉन्ड अकॉर्डिंगली. इफ रिक्वेस्ट डॉट फॉर्म button 1 is not equal to empty, it means response dot write will display you that hello the time is, and the value of time can be derived with the help of now function. Ampersand now की help से you will be able to get the current timing. If close, if construct will be ended with the end if construct, then परसेंटेज और मॉड्यूलस सिंबल से आप इस टैग को क्लोज कर देंगे. सिमिलरली एट द एंड यू हैव टू क्लोज द फॉर्म टैग, बॉडी टैग एज वेल एज HTML टैग. So this is the kind of demo which will give you an idea that how to write a ASP program, right? Now let us discuss about the success parameter of ASP, that how the ASP is so popular in nowadays development environment. So the success of ASP basically depends on simple procedural programming model. Because of ASP का जो programming model है that is a stepwise system. So that has contributed in the success of the ASP. Access to COM components. ASP जो की सक्सेस उसके कंपोनेंट्स की वजह से भी है, क्योंकि हम इसमें बहुत सारे कंपोनेंट्स ऐड कर सकते हैं लाइक ActiveX डेटा ऑब्जेक्ट, फाइल सिस्टम ऑब्जेक्ट, कस्टम कंपोनेंट्स, स्क्रिप्ट बेस्ड. This ASP is basically a script based language. It means no compiling is required. Just edit the thing, save the program and run it. Examples are like VB script and JavaScript languages. Another factor for the success of ASP is that it supports multiple scripting languages. बहुत सारी languages को एक साथ support करता है, as I have previously explained. VB script, JavaScript. And apart from this, ASP has been very popular. Because of all these features, ASP is very popular. Apart apart from the success parameter, there are lots of challenges also at the side of ASP, like coding overhead. That is, you need to write too much code. For every task, you need to write a code, and everything, because everything requires writing code. So obviously the maintenance cost is also high. Code readability is another challenge, because if there are lots of coding, so readability could be a kind of problem. So this is the another important challenge. Sometimes the written code is too complex, so that it get intermingled with the user interface. Another challenge for the ASP is maintaining page state, because maintaining a page state basically requires more code, and reusability is difficult also. Supporting many types of browser is difficult, and it is another challenge of the ASP. बहुत सारे ब्राउजर्स को सपोर्ट कर पाना कभी समटाइम डिफ़िकल्ट हो जाता है. सो इट बिकम ए काइंड ऑफ चैलेंज फॉर द ASP. डिप्लॉयमेंट इश्यूज, यस, डायनामिक लिंक लाइब्रेरी के एंड पर समटाइम्स कुछ इश्यूज अराइज हो जाते हैं जो लॉक कर देते हैं पूरे प्रोसेस को. सो दैट deployment kind of issues is another important kind of challenge in the hands of ASP, right? Session state scalability, that is, state scalability leads to the availability of the data. Session is a kind of data which is stored at the end of, that is, customer. So session state scalability and availability is another important challenge in the hands of ASP. Limited support for catching, tracking, debugging. ASP supports lack in tracking and debugging. Performance and safety limitation is the another constraint, right? So these are the certain ASP challenges that are faced. Now let us talk about the classical ASP. ASP 3.0 was the last version of the classic ASP. Which version I was talking about? Yes, it was ASP 3.0. Right? ASP.NET is not ASP. You must keep this thing in your mind, that ASP.NET is not equal to ASP. Right? Because these are two different issues, different things. These should not be intermingled. ASP.NET is the next generation ASP, but it is not the upgraded version of ASP. Yes, sometimes students get confused that ASP.NET is the advanced or next, like upgraded version of ASP. No, it is the next generation of the ASP, right? So ASP.NET is an entirely new technology for server side scripting. सर्वर साइड स्क्रिप्टिंग करने के लिए ASP.NET एक बिल्कुल न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी है, and it was written from the ground up and is not background compatible with classic ASP. वो प्रोग्राम जो ASP.NET सपोर्ट करता है, ये ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो क्लासिक ASP से भी सपोर्टेड होगा, राइट? सो ASP.NET इज़ अ मेजर पार्ट ऑफ द Microsoft's .NET फ्रेमवर्क, राइट? इट मीन्स ASP.NET किसका कंपोनेंट है? Microsoft's .NET फ्रेमवर्क. Classic ASP also uses server-side scripting to dynamically produce web pages. रन टाइम पर कुछ वेब पेजेस को क्रिएट करने के लिए क्लासिक ASP यूज़ किया जाता है, that are not affected by the type of browser the website visitor is using. The default scripting language is used for writing ASP is VB script. Although you can use other scripting languages like JavaScript and Microsoft version of JavaScript. Classic ASP pages have the extension of .asp instead of .html. When a page with the extension of .asp is requested by a browser, the web server knows to interpret any ASP contained within the web page before sending the HTML produced to the browser. This way, all the ASPs run on the web server and no ASP will ever be passed to the web browser. Any web page containing ASP cannot be run by just simply opening the page in a web browser. The page must be requested through a web server that supports ASP. This is why ASP stands for Active Server Pages. No server, no active pages. Now, what is ASP.NET? ASP.NET is a server-side scripting technology that enables script to be executed by an internet server. ASP.NET is a Microsoft technology. ASP stands for Active Server Pages. ASP.NET is a program that runs inside IIS, that is Internet Information Services, is Microsoft's Internet Server. Internet Information Services is a free component with Windows Server. Internet Information Services is also a part of Windows 2000 and XP Professional. An ASP.NET file is just the same as an HTML file. An ASP.NET file can contain HTML, XML, and script. Script in an ASP.NET file are executed on the server. Right? An ASP.NET file has the file extension of .aspx. Now, let's talk about the architecture of ASP.NET. In the first layer of our architecture of ASP.NET, we are having VB, C++, C#, JavaScript. In the next level, there is a common language specification. Third level pe ASP.NET web services and web forms are there. Window forms is there. In the next level, we are having ADO.NET data and XML base classes in the next level. And at last level, there is a common language runtime. In short, it is called as a CLR. How does ASP.NET work? Now let us learn this way. That how does an ASP.NET work? So basically, when a browser requests an HTML file, the server returns the file. When a browser requests an ASP.NET file, Internet IIS, that is, it passes the request to the ASP.NET engine on the server. The ASP.NET engine reads the file line by line and executes the script in the file. Finally, the ASP.NET file is returned to the browser as a plain HTML. Now let us discuss about that what is HTML, or we can say that what is ASP plus. ASP plus is the same as the ASP.NET. ASP plus is just an early name that is used by the Microsoft when they developed the ASP.NET. The Microsoft .NET framework is the infrastructure for the Microsoft .NET platform. It means अगर आपको .NET applications build up करनी है तो उसके regarding आपकी pre requirement होगी .NET framework. The .NET framework is an environment for building, deploying and running web applications and web services. Microsoft's first server technology, that is ASP, Active Server Pages, was a powerful and flexible programming language. But it was too code oriented. It was not an application framework and not an enterprise's development tool. So the Microsoft .NET framework was developed to solve this problem. Right? .NET framework keyword consists of like easier and quicker programming possible है ASP.NET से, reduced amount of code, declarative programming model is this, richer server control hierarchy with events is there, larger class library is there, better support for development tools. Now, let us discuss that how the .NET framework is built up, or what are the parts of .NET framework. Programming language is one part of the .NET framework, which includes C hash, Visual Basic, J hash, that is pronounced as J sharp. Server technologies and client technologies include like ASP .NET, Windows Form, Compact Framework. Development environment includes Visual Studio .NET, Visual Web Developers, right? ASP.NET 2.0, basically it improves upon ASP.NET by adding support for several new features. ASP.NET 3.0 is not a new version of the ASP.NET. It is just the name for a new ASP.NET 2.0 framework. Library with support for Windows Presentation Foundation, Windows Communication Foundation, Windows Workflow Foundation, and Windows Card Space. With this, we are going to finish this session. But before we end, there is a do it yourself exercise for you. In the first question, you have to answer that why we move from ASP to ASP.NET, and next question is about explain ASP.NET architecture, right? So you have to explain them in brief. With this, we are going to finish this session. Thank you.